Jordi, with the Celtics team, you just saw them on Saturday. Just what needs to be different tonight, and kind of what are your biggest takeaways from that matchup?
Yeah, I think our physicality from the beginning, we gave up too many and-ones early in the game, and we were kind of soft right there. Gotta be willing to take charges. We're fairly smaller, and we didn't match that physicality, and I think, we found a way. We were competitive throughout the game. Even though we were down 20, we kept fighting, and proud of the guys on the way we played, but there's a lot of things we can do better, and I think that physicality is one thing. We know we're going to face a lot of pick and rolls tonight. I think they ran 76 last time, 24 in the fourth quarter, so that's a lot of communication that needs to be established, and it's a two-way street, and we have to be on point with that for sure.
You mentioned about you guys were smaller the last time. You'll have 3 bigs tonight, and you have a lot of more guys available. Just with that amount of guys available, how does that affect your rotation?
I think we've been, always trying to figure out what our groups are, and that's a good, the good thing about we've tried all these combinations is it doesn't matter who's out there. So as long as we find a way, we play hard, we're connected, we compete for 48 minutes. That's what we want to see.
With Noah in tonight, he's missed a lot of games. His season's kind of been start and go. Do you feel like you've been able to, get the evaluation and learn about his game in the way that you wanted to, even though he's missed a few games this season?
Yeah, for sure. We're very happy with what Noah has done. Obviously, you don't want to see him injured. Stepping somebody's foot 2 times and rolling your ankles, nothing you can control in the sport of basketball. So it's unfortunate. He's done a great job recovering, and he'll play tonight, so I'm excited to watch him play.
Jordi, with having a team that's pretty young, as we get here later and later in the season, how do you kind of balance working through individual player development with these guys, with your coaching staff, while also trying to give them the proper amount of rest, thinking about game prep, all of those things?
Yeah, it's a process, and giving credit to the coaches, with our workflow being organized on who's going to take, part of what we call the B grade group, and the guys that are in the rotation, how we get them ready, so on and so forth. I think there's, whether you play it or you don't play, that work it's being done, and it's done throughout the season, and that's the reason why the guys improve is because they put the time, and the coaches help them, not just the coaches, but also medical performance, try to teach all those habits, building the culture that we want, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how young you are, how old you are, you can always get better. So that's what we want to establish here. That's the beginning of a process. It's going to be a long process, but we're very happy where we're at.
Jordi, when you're deciding whether you're going to defend a guy like Jayson Tatum straight up or bring extra defenders his way, what sort of things are you considering, and do you have one philosophy on that, or do you kind of have to try different things?
Yeah, I don't know how to guard him. He's too good. And I just, try different things, and if one thing works, then try to stay with it and try to have a feel for it. I think our guys have done a good job to try to do whatever the adjustment or the defense is at the time, to do it as hard as they can, but do it together, because it's not just one guy guarding him. And I think that's extremely important, whether you're straight up and then you show your help behind, or you're going to throw a double team out of a pick and roll, or a double team just out of the closest man. So, all those things we've done, the guys do a good job just doing it as hard as they can, communicate, rotate, and they don't stop until we get either the loose ball or the rebound. And a lot of times when you put two on the ball, that somebody else will be open. So, you take your chances with somebody else, you're taking an open shot. So I always tell the guys, if they score is on me, just go ahead and do it as hard as you can.
CJ has been your vet the entire year. It's been kind of one of the few bits of consistency throughout the season. How have you seen him handle being in the trade rumors, but still being an important locker room leader and a liaison between the roster and the coaching staff?
Yeah, in his late 20s, he's our grown-up, extremely professional, super mature. He's a great example for everybody else, especially with what we're trying to establish. And the way he's handled himself throughout the year, it tells you why we've always loved him and why we want him here, right? you know, it's not fun to go through that where you see your name, and I know it's, you know, your job to talk about this because that's what people wants to know. The reality is, if a lot of teams want you, that means that you have a lot of value. We also value him. That's why we wanted him here. He was very professional throughout the process, never affected him, great with his teammates, great with the coaches. He performed at a high level, and now once the trade deadline was over, he continued to do his job. So that just tells you how, you know, how amazing he is as a professional.
Jordi, you mentioned just the physicality being important tonight. Defensively, what is the key to attacking the Celtics offense that can not only shoot a lot of threes and attempt a lot of threes, but also find ways to get around the court and find their twos as well?
Yeah, I mean, we found success with the three-point line. They're really big. They protect the rim. They also have their flexibility in their roster is amazing. They have positional size. They can switch. They can, like I said, protect the rim. So our ability to touch the ball in different ways, not just with the ball, but with cuts, rolls, rim runs, it's going to be important. We cannot be stagnant because if we're just looking at each other and not moving, it's going to be a long night. And we have to find a way. Ideally, you want to find it early in the clock, but we don't want to turn the ball over. One thing we did very well last game was, besides shooting the three, was taking care of the ball. I think that we had 9 turnovers for 10 points and 5. I don't remember exactly, was something like that. And that's very, very good. You give yourself a chance if you can do that.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you.